This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy! Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Over to this side, bucket hat, what is your name? Where are you from? What is your question?
Hello, my name is Russ. I'm from Peoria. And my question is, when you finally got to see The Fly on the big screen, how did the body horror really affect you?
Well, I saw it all, as it was happening. I have a very strong stomach. I'm not squeamish whatsoever. Like, if somebody was doing an operation, I'd be like, let me see that. There was that. But I'll tell you, the night, the Friday that it opened, Jeff and I were in New York, and we went to a movie theater on Times Square, giant movie theater, and we kind of stood in the back and we're watching, and he came to that scene where his ear falls off. And I hugged him, but on the set, we made the decision somehow that I hugged him on the side of his head where the ear fell off. And the people in the audience, when I go in for the hug, you couldn't hear the next two scenes. They were like, oh my God! We were like, we should have thought of this.
Thank you.
After a 10-hour workday, it's about 11 p.m. when I finally get around to finalizing my podcast and uploading it to the internet. So I definitely need a lot of energy, but I don't need all that caffeine, so I rely on Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. It's a coffee fruit extract, so you get about as much caffeine as a cup of coffee, but you get all the vitamins you could possibly wish for and all the energy, and about half the price. If you spend $4 a shift on energy drinks, you're spending $80 on sugar per month. Why don't you cut that in half and try Dubby Energy Blend? And if you go and visit Dubby.gg and use the promo code CatBusRuss at checkout, you're going to save yourself 10%. So on top of spending half the money, you can at least go and get one over on the tax man. So that's Dubby.gg, promo code CatBusRuss, and start feeling energized today.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
It is Monday, March 30th, so we've come out the other side of C2E2 from Chicago. I'm here with the Poetic Critic. Of course, this is I Dig Crazy Flicks with Cat Bus Russ, and I am Cat Bus Russ. I do my best to try making it sound like my edit back from the CM Darth days on the, it's just not Mr. Black enough for me when I redub the Chris Hardwick and the opening blurb. So, I did not see much of the Poetic Critic when it came to C2E2 this year, so we had very different agendas. So I was just kind of curious. Everybody could hear about my Monday. But with that said, I want to pull up a few things to say, hey, they got cool stuff. Just got to pull up the phone, pull up the photos. So, yeah. I was disturbed by how many giant Pokemon suits there were cosplay. Eevees and Vulpixes on bipeds. Eevees aren't supposed to actually evolve.
My only inflatable costume I saw was a Pikachu.
Oh, I saw a Vulpix. I got evidence of a couple of Eevees. Just walking around. Feel bad about the Vulpix pick I had. That was like, oh, right, and he's finally stopped. Oh, and he's going to get out of the suit. No cosplay and consent stuff, but damn. So, let me put out some shout-outs to, get to those gentlemen. The Digital Pimp Online, where I got my cool little Tiger versus Bunny pin, and dang it, the photo I got of him and his stuff doesn't really bring up his podcast, but there you go, though. At least digitalpimponline.com, you can get to his movie stuff. And who else do I need to... Okay, yeah, I remember. So I got a couple of cool sparkling buttons dedicated to Chopping Mall and Night of the Demons at the Night Natalie booth. And the very popular Tank Girl Too Hip for Spielberg shirt at the Horror House. So I think that covers everybody I missed back at day one bonus episode. But I will say, Night Natalie, they're doing their best to bring VHS back. I know there haven't been any players made since 2016, but I think people are going to be hunting down Goodwills and just buying them up. So, well, that really finishes up my Friday. So what did you do Friday at C2E2, the Poetic Critic?
Well, David and I... Well, first, David was chatting with some friends at one of the booths while I was getting my Geena Davis autograph at the top of the day. From there, we did... there weren't really a lot of panels we were interested in that day, but we did do movies everyone disagrees with you on. And then he had to go back, get the train for home, but I stayed for cosplay karaoke that day. And in between, we checked out the tavern socializing area, and we saw the Star Trek cosplay meetup because he was dressed for that. That was pretty busy. And
wear the red shirt, man.
And we also did tarot readings up in the tavern area for fun.
Oh, interesting. I didn't really notice where the tarot was.
Well, it was up in the tavern. It was off to the side when you entered the room. It was off to the left side wall.
Okay, yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, no, I say panel-wise, I did check out, I thought, the best educational panel I had seen, the Learning Dead, where people are excited, like, I don't know, are we getting excited about the zombie apocalypse? I think it's just like a bunch of doomsday preppers and introverts just like waiting for the world to end.
It could be.
And I think they're going to have a ball. But, interesting science bit about that. Somebody used the Argonne supercomputer to determine, well, how long would a zombie apocalypse take? Mm-hmm. And just like The Walking Dead, 60 days. I figure with Chicago, though, you could go Land of the Dead, since you have the Plains and the Chicago River and Lake Michigan behind you, kind of build yourself a little triangle. Dennis Hopper would be proud, just like he would have been when I mentioned Super Mario Bros. 93 at the movies everyone disagrees with you on. I know David went with Ghostbusters 2, and it's like, I don't know if, like, everybody really disagrees on that one. We just all agree it wasn't Ghostbusters 1. You have... I thought Vigo was a convincing enough villain. The only thing I really just find stupid is, let's put Annie Potts in a big old wig. And, yeah. I mean, that's all I can really say about that. A lot of people having fun, though. I think it was, with Valentine's Day memes when it comes to that, predicting the, end of the world, which was, I think, Valentine's Day 2016? Valentine's Day. Bummer. So, I guess then, get right into, day 2. I know you started the day with Christopher Eccleston.
Yes.
As I say, I went to the Elizabeth Olsen because, how I've never seen her, do a panel. It was interesting, though, when the hype man was, all right, turn to a stranger, high five, fist bump, somebody scream in their face. One of them was, name your favorite Elizabeth Olsen character from a movie. And it's like, yeah, I know she's done some great work and Old Boy, but yeah, I can't name her from the Idris Elba movie. I can't name her from that other Jeremy Renner movie. So kind of makes me worried about Elizabeth Olsen being somebody who is pulled right into the universe, unlike your established actors who made up the initial Avengers. I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson, I know he had that Beatles movie where he met his missus, and Kick-Ass. But, yeah, I couldn't really tell you anything. And I guess he's been busy enough. Well, we don't get that kind of thing with Elizabeth Olsen, so I kind of worry about her career in that aspect. But, if you're going to get a cold, the best time to do it, I would say it's at a con if you're a celebrity, so you don't have to get too close to the people. She was going to wear a mask and everything and keep people away from her, but I thought she was very cool. It was actually kind of fun, her work with Aaron Taylor Johnson building into the Marvel movies, because they were in Godzilla together.
Right. So,
but now that I think, they were husband and wife in Godzilla, couldn't we get that timeline, that Marvel timeline when it came to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch? Okay, so, yep, that's for the comic book nerds out there. Little Game of Thrones for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it was fun finding out how Thanos was made. Like, oh yeah, no, you have Josh Brolin in his outfit with the skin tight, and the little balls all over the place. But then they'd have to put a pole in him, behind, so that you'd have eyeballs at the top. So where you're supposed to look at. So I mean, learn new things about acting every day. So you said Christopher Eccleston. You brought up that to me, like, why'd you skip it? Like, he talked about Danny Boyle stuff. What did he have from Shallow Grave?
I'm trying to remember. He was talking. He did talk a little bit about that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he brought up some Danny Boyle and even a little bit of Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
And how marijuana made that one a tolerable work day.
They didn't bring up the pot this time, as far as I can remember.
Well, it's like, what else are you going to do in the makeup chair? So, I mean, imagine Jim Carrey as the Grinch if he had pot. Cheaper than a Navy SEAL, I presume. So I am a little miffed that I skipped the Charlie Cox. Well, I don't regret it because honestly, this is about the fans. So I think more than the celebrities, which means I think they honestly panels could have. I think they had a lot of empty space in certain rooms. I think, and then moving the main stage to the floor, like you would figure that would give you more rooms to work with. And I don't know, what did you really think of the tavern?
I thought the tavern was a really nice place for people to relax and just have fun socializing.
Yeah, but that's
this
what
is more important than
500
ever
rules.
at conventions.
Yeah, but that's what the 500 rooms were.
They're still doing the 500 rooms up there.
Yeah, then
on that floor.
I don't know. I think I honestly would have liked a closer space if I'm going to have to deal with people. So we have to deal with people, kind of.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, this is... So, yeah, so I went and checked out the Aliens Resurgence for the Hive fan film by Tris Rex. Mm-hmm. He's had the big old alien display.
Yeah, down in the cosplay area, they put stuff like that up, statues and maquettes, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's been there pretty much since at least the 2024 when they did where C2E2 actually started on Alien Day, 426. It's a feature that he worked 5 years on, and he did a Q&A afterwards, and I think a lot of the people asked good questions, like the sound. How'd you manage to do that well? And he did. Interesting choices focusing on the video games to inspire his sounds. I think in the end, though, because this is a story that starts about, and I really wish I would have made it to the opening. Now, I did grab a popcorn bucket he had custom made for this. I was able to sneak in and grab that. But the plot of it is, what if you survived a chest burster? And I think that he was so focused on paying homage to aliens. He's only he was only born in '88, so I think he kind of lost the plot in his feature. And I don't think it was necessarily the best environment, having it projected on that from a digital projector. Some of the imagery got a little blocky. It's a very hyperactive film, so it's almost like be great if you for like Halloween, just how chaotic it gets. But as I say, I do think he loses the narrative. I did have the nerve to ask him. So, do you think you may have gone overly ambitious when you compare it to the simple stories of the Alien short films from the 40th anniversary? And he straight up said, yeah, damn right I did. So you have to admire the passion that he put into the project, which is something like, as I'm watching it, it's like, when it comes to Main Event of the Dead, do I need to just go and focus on making it a short film? And, make sure I do because I'm more of a story guy, obviously, and make sure that all works out better instead of like, all right, here's my premise, and now let's just throw them into the aliens. And I would say pretty much everything you see on the floor at C2E2 was used in the movie. So
Let's see.
Yeah, so I don't think they were flexible enough to do what you wanted to do, and and again, narratively, I would have probably written it a little different, especially since he plans on doing a sequel, because one of the things he said during the Q&A was, the things I learned and what I would do for the next film. And then I asked another question, which was, because you know how to do it now, are you going to go Spielberg/Lucas and give us a special edition? And he pretty much said, well, the sequel's going to be better, and then I'm going to incorporate it, like it's going to be narratives crossing over each other. And yeah, I do want to make an extended cut, so yeah, he is going to go and do things better. Which leads me, I think, to a legitimate question. I don't think we've really addressed it on I Did Crazy Flicks, at least with any conversation between you and I. Is art something that should constantly be a work of art, I should say, constantly, quote-unquote, improved upon by the creator?
No, in terms of stuff like special editions, I generally am not a fan of tinkering in post unless there were real problems the first time around. The way that Ridley Scott had with Blade Runner or Steven Spielberg with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Too often, though, when you think of tweaking down the line, you end up with stuff like the Star Wars special editions, where it's largely superfluous, adding new effects and stuff.
Well, when it comes to Coppola recutting a movie every 10 years, what do you think of that?
Well, I'm not a big enough Coppola fan to feel very strongly about that one way or another.
Well, I haven't seen the... I think there's a cut that was made after the Apocalypse Now Redux, which I haven't seen. But Apocalypse Now Redux was... it was superior than Apocalypse Now. My opinion. So, okay, it's just, but Tris Rex, Tris Rex, he put his heart into that, and, maybe narratively I would say it's a 2-star movie, but for the effort, and, that's not, the passion, I would say, 2.5. Well, really, and I'm being generous. The narrative, missing the narrative point, kind of knocks a 0.5 star off of that. Even but it's something to be admired, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Because God knows I haven't done a movie yet, and I would be working with a far lower budget. And as I say, I think would take a different approach just because of screenwriting, but who knows? I don't necessarily want to direct my movie. So, I just want to cast it to prove my... Why do you write screenplays? Why not write a book? Because I don't want to be at a book signing and have somebody come up to me, oh, and I can just imagine. No. No. I put it on the screen. This is what it is. Hell, it worked. Anne Rice didn't take offense when she saw the end product of Interview with the Vampire, because Lord knows everybody was pissed about Tom Cruise initially getting cast. He's not blonde. But thinking about Apocalypse Now, it was fun. I did check out the. Now I should say I do regret. I wish things were a little different because I missed the Daredevil Reborn panel with Kristen Ritter and Charlie Cox. And really just, again though, for me, Charlie Cox I know best from Boardwalk Empire and Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
And Kristen Ritter, the first thing I really saw her in, I knew she was on Breaking Bad. But the first thing I really saw her on was... who's the director of Clueless?
Amy Heckerling?
Yes, Amy Heckerling's Clueless with vampires, essentially. Vamps, which is a really cute movie. You got Wallace Shawn in there as Van Helsing, and Roddy McDowall... No, not Roddy McDowall. Malcolm McDowell as Dracula. So, and Sigourney Weaver as the bad vampire. So I think it's fun, worth a check. Really wish she would have gotten a little more budget though. But why did Amy Heckerling's career drop off after Clueless?
I don't know.
Okay. She also did Fast Times, correct?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Such a strong. She really spoke to, I think, a couple generations, honestly. I'd say your boomers and your Gen X. Can't help myself, but look. It's, again, though, it's kind of like, so what am I going to do? Ask questions about stuff that fans don't really care about? I mean, it would have been a hell of a lot tougher if Susan Sarandon was healthy, and there was a Thelma and Louise panel, because shamefully I've not seen Thelma and Louise. So, yeah, righty, but I did miss a transition with Loser. Yeah, that one would hurt you. The Mina Savari. I really need to see American Beauty. Yeah, I know that's a popular take on the internet. Just to see if she could actually pull off acting in that one. And she's also in a Stuart Gordon movie that I need to check out. Gotta complete that guy's filmography at some point. Stuck, where Stephen Ray is just stuck in her windshield and she doesn't want to report it. So that's but as they say, with commiserating over the not checking out the Daredevil, I went back down, and again, it's just like, if you want to be this is not a good convention if you want to be in multiple places. It's almost like Twin City Comic Con.
Right. It's a very large complex.
Yes, and then you have security in separate places, and they weren't using metal detectors like usual. They were using scanners.
Oh.
Like, I would say not TSA level, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have a power pack, like, in your bag or anything like that? They were looking for items, like if you got pulled over. Did you ever get pulled over?
No.
Okay, I got pulled over for, like, oh, no, your umbrella. That's what we thought might have been a weapon. And, like, there were no questions when I carried around a Nintendo Zapper on a Sunday. Because the bucket hat is the personality now, essentially, the Cat Bus Russ angle. So got down to the panel for the Western wing, which was really educational, and Martin Sheen made us all feel comfortable with not being able to actually attend a No Kings March. And that's something I think C2E2 should have probably worked on, perhaps, giving us a No Kings moment, or I don't know, maybe that's activists in the fandom should have gone and, like, blocked up the main commons area just to tell Donald Trump to bugger off. But no, he was very cool. Man, it's actually, like, I think he does a podcast, and I think he does it with let's see, Dulé Hill, and it is political, and he starts and he ends it with a prayer, for the country, for democracy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, that kind of makes it seem a little more important than can I get a wahoo? And later on followed up by all hail Flash, you saved your Earth, have a nice day. So kind of felt a little like, as somebody who tries to be as much of an activist, I mean, I've been to, I've tried my best to make it to marches before. And the questions were all solid. It definitely was more for the fans, but we did try to address the dead zone. And, I think Martin Sheen's afraid that he may have inspired the current administration. Like, I was playing something totally unrealistic. 20 years later. So, then panel-wise, like, I was kind of, I get a little anxious, I think, when I don't have something to run to myself at conventions, because I've been to so many now. Like, is there really much on the floor that I'm going to go and, like, buy? And I'm not somebody who wants to bug people at tables, you know. If I come up to one, I'd like to, you know, I don't want to just hear their pitch. You know, I want to help them out. So you gotta watch out for comic book writers. There was one guy who's gotten me twice, and it's like, huh. That guy, at least, he just wrote, "Ask me about my comic." And it looked like a cool art, and yeah, I've ended up buying the same volume 1 twice from that guy.
Sorry.
No worries. So, yeah, I can get real anxious, feel alone in a crowd, and maybe even a little agoraphobic. So I would say things were kind of tough for me until we got to the after hours, where I got to check out the panel by the lasses at the Femmes Reading Filth podcast, where they basically, I thought it was going to be a little more acting, kind of like reading in a table read type setting, dirty fan fiction. Instead, it was more of an education, like what you need for good fan fiction: communication, hotness, yearning, and just out there stuff. So I really wish little Charlotte was here so I could really rip into Hermione Granger and tell her about some of the stories that are out there about her. I think the least popular thing was that they like the idea of Hermione with the who are Rob's brother? I mean, no. Shoot. Little ginger kid. I was pissed though when we were at the Harry Potter store spot, and I see Hermione's wand, Harry's wand, Dumbledore's wand, and he who shall not be named's wand. What happened to Ron? Are we really treating him like the redheaded stepchild? Like, geez, honestly, that makes me hate. Like, if I needed more reason to hate J.K. Rowling. Oh no, for the marketing, we must bring shame upon the gingers. Ron Weasley, there we go. Mm-hmm. And there's fan fiction they were talking, like, they read bits from about, like, just as a demonstration on communication.
Yeah. About
Draco Malfoy and Hermione. Like, come on. The possessiveness, that's hot, right? But they were saying, and there is, you know, the out there stuff, like the Weasley twins getting it on with Hermione. And, like, we just got turned off once you get to the men kissing men brother stuff. And, like, I mean, come on. People haven't seen any Amy Adams completionist has seen some actual incest on big screen, talking about Cruel Intentions 2. And it is fun hearing about the words you should not use. Don't call it a member. Shaft. Womb. No, it wasn't out there-ness. It was just the impossibility there. I say the yearn. I mean, no, I guess that's yearning. Like bringing up heated rivalry.
Right.
The intensity, not only like, oh, you can't come out as queer playing hockey, never mind, one of the characters is Russian. It does make me bring back a little thing from the a panel I saw, another After Hour panel I saw, which was Hear Me Out, Slam or Pass, where you get weird things like Tony the Tiger, Slam or Pass. In two occasions, Tony the Tiger being one of them, I was the sole person on the losing side of the argument.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to be a contrarian. No, I don't want to screw Tony the Tiger because I have a cat. And I don't do that. I don't think of her that way. And on top of that, the fan art is wrong. Tigers have 6 nipples. And then there was fan art of sexualized fan art of the Grimace. And they kind of imagined him as kind of blob-like, that could transform, kind of like a Ditto, which people passed on the Ditto. Did they not see Detective Pikachu? I digress. But, look, if you can't kill the Grimace, you might as well give it whatever it wants, I believe. So dare I say, I'm curious. So yeah, I guess that really kind of sums up day 2, except you didn't get a bonus podcast because
Well, you didn't mention the Svengoolie panel.
Oh, well...
we were all there.
Everybody was there. I mean, I don't know if really... I don't think it was a great question panel. Because it always like, how about this? Can we get the rights? How about this? Can we get the rights, I mean, it's fun hearing about that. It just really made me... This is the only time, though, I had an obstructive view, and I don't know if that guy in front of me was really that much taller. But I think, maybe we should raise the stages a little bit for everybody in the back. And I think it was a little too Sven Squad-centric.
What's wrong with the Sven Squad? They're pretty great. It was nice to see them get to join this panel. I mean, they generally do a Svengoolie panel each year for those
This
not
is the first one I've been
But this is the first one that featured the Sven Squad members.
Okay, well, I mean, I was like, I'm not as familiar with the Sven Squad as I'm with Sven, or son of Svengoolie, I guess, is because I think we're really people are really holding the continuity up now, or it's really important to them.
Well, sometimes it's useful as a clarification, but it's just been Svengoolie for Rich Coase for many, many years now.
But and none of Berwyn love. This coming from a guy who spent 52 weekends up in Berwyn. Well, okay, that might be an over-exaggeration, since AA Wrestling at best had 2 shows in Berwyn a month. But I had to hang out with Danny Daniels for my wrestling training, so I mean, it all centered around Berwyn. And you know what? Maybe the world would be better if Berwyn was the center of the world. Berwyn. I don't know if I ever say it right whenever I say Berwyn. I just can't nail that response to, well, this thing happened in Berwyn. See? Yeah. So, but honestly, it is great to find out, that they're doing so much online. So, it gives you something a little more. So you definitely, and I think you can help cheer on their careers that way.
Yeah.
With that online presence. So, yeah. So, otherwise, as I say, you didn't get people, I'm sorry you didn't get a bonus episode because White Castle just ruined the rest of, waiting 30 minutes to find out that they hadn't put in my shrimp dip nibblers until I brought it to their attention, so it was another 5 minutes. And, yeah, the French fries were hardly edible. I mean, White Castle, I'd rather have had the regular White Castle experience 45 minutes later than just being anxious and upset over my food. And maybe that's another further complaint that I didn't get the White Castle experience. If you're familiar with the White Castle experience, we once went up to a wrestling show in Chicagoland, and we picked up White Castle because that's what we do. And it was my buddy Raul wrestled as Sinister with 2 N's. And I was also up there with my friend Scott, former body piercer who went by Jesus. And we picked up, and the moment Raul took a bite out of a slider, Scott went and said, "Okay, timer starts now." And then 45 minutes later, you have a 300-pound Mexican running towards the bathroom. And yes, of course, we documented the time on that. It's an interesting trip back then. But as for Sunday, I didn't really... Did you check out the Jurassic Park?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
That's good. I mean, B.D. Wong was the only one was really interested in, and that would have been said, "Hey, you did great in Men of War with Dolph Lundgren."
This was strictly taking up questions.
That's
from
what
the
I figured was
audience.
going to happen. Oh, it was strictly questions from the audience?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was strictly Jurassic Park, though, or?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I wouldn't have had that as much fun. Which is the same thing why I didn't really check out the Fantastic Four reunion, because I have not seen those movies, and aside from The Shield, my best reference point for Michael Chiklis is the Cinema Sobs video on Wired. I think we all want to forget about that. Not the Cinema Snobs.
Yeah.
It was Brad Jones.
David and I participated in the costume showcase on Sunday afternoon, so we weren't able to make the Fantastic Four panel.
Okay, well, I thought the cosplay was I thought that was the main stage.
Well, yeah, but we had to line up beforehand,
Okay,
so
so
that
you didn't
overlapped
see-
with the Fantastic Four panel.
Because that's the only time I've
They
really...
probably didn't have to do it so early, line up everybody so early.
So
given
was it-
how quickly it went once we all got back there.
So
but-
I didn't check it out. I'm not... because it just felt weird. Like, that's how you're closing the day? Because I'm used to some big panel, like The Boys.
That's not uncommon.
Well, I mean, I've seen The Boys, Cobra Kai. I think Ming-Na Wen pulled it off once when it was supposed to be... Like, Clark Gregg, I know he's been scheduled for a bunch of cons that I've gone to, and he always ends up canceling. So that I just wasn't ready to go downstairs for that. Especially since, that's usually the big Saturday night thing. At least I've been kind of programmed into. The primetime cosplay. Was it as good as Fan Expos?
Well, yeah, it was basically like the red carpets they do at the Fan Expos.
Okay, so not
We're
that.
not competing for anything.
Okay, so essentially the Bozo Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't I thought I had another thought. Let's see. Yeah, so I pretty much just stayed on the floor, ended up buying stuff I definitely probably should have held myself back on. There's hopes that maybe my tattoo guy from last year would be freed up. That's pretty much, if you don't do it on Friday, you're not getting your tattoo. Point of advice, people. And it's kind of sad. C2E2 is about the only game in town now that has a tattoo line. Because Fan Expo Chicago last year didn't have a tattoo alley.
I thought they did.
I don't think they did, because it's... Now, I was honestly thinking on night 2, down at one of my favorite punk bars, Bottom's Lounge. in the meatpacking district, which they've somehow gentrified. Which I kind of feel bad for the horse standing by the info desk on the 4th floor.
Right.
Especially when you have everybody wearing those fast food hats.
Yeah.
Dude, Chicago's known for its meat packing. That horse is not going to have a great fate. And it looks like he's trying to celebrate it. It's not a Mr. Meeseeks. But then I shouldn't be bad-mouthing it. I hear horse meat has the most protein out there. And it is legal to eat in the United States. Thanks, Obama. So, getting on the floor, found some fun places I got myself. I rarely buy prints and stuff, but there was a fun Nirvana one with the clash between the Attitude of Nirvana and the Evangelion crew. I think that was by the Iron Pinky. So some fun prints there, like good Street Fighter one that I was thought. And if you like K-pop, Demon Hunters. As I say, now I have to watch Frozen to determine what was the worst feature to win Best Animated Feature. Probably Frozen 2, but it started with Frozen. So that was a cool print. There was some cool stickers you could get from Lala Lori, which I had a conversation about because she had a body pillow of Ash Williams, Bruce Campbell, and I had to stop by and tell her, I think you're phrasing that wrong, because it was saying, before it said last one, it said going fast. That's too soon. I mean, it just made me think about what Bruce Campbell's going through right now. But she had some cool stickers there. Actually, just a lot of cool little trinkets and such. Like, really wish I could have had the spare cat. I really debated going and buying the sticker, the Has-Been Hotel sticker sheet. But $11 for a sticker sheet's a little much. Alrighty, and let's see what I've got there. Just making sure. I guess I'd have to go to my Instagram, the people you scan and follow. Do you think it's a little too heavy now on the like, nobody has business cards anymore? You gotta scan QR codes.
Well, a lot of people still have business cards.
Yeah. Let's see. As for stars, I know it was going to be major star power if Susan Sarandon actually had arrived. Do you think it was a little lesser than other C2E2s?
What was?
The amount of celebrity.
I don't know. I guess it's harder to think of people everybody would know and want to come see at a con. You see this with fan expos to a lesser extent.
Fan expos pretty much just become a weekly, or probably a monthly paycheck for certain guys. Like, you're not going to see the Hobbits anywhere. They're locked in to do the entire fan expo tour this year. So I would kind of suggest that fan expos, like, let's lock these guys down and just keep bringing them out till, as long as people are coming. Phrasing. So let me follow. Okay, there we go. I did go to the Planet Awesome guys, or Channel Awesome. Thank you. They They were they were cool, pleasant to me, as I said. Like they didn't really have anything I wanted to buy from them, which is sad. That just means I haven't completed Class of 1986, which is really shameful because I told Brad Jones, the nostalgia critic, I know that's sad because I bought a Bruce edition before it really got edited finally, and I told Doug I am gonna watch Doug Walker, the cinema nostalgia critic. I am gonna get around to watching and covering Kick-Assia on the show. If they had stickers, I would have probably bought some. They did all seem to enjoy, though. I gave them all the B-Fest buttons. They were the first ones that really popped for the Canon logo. So they were very cool and understanding, and I hope they didn't say too many bad things about me being a cheap fuck as I walked away. And another vendor that came to note, I would say, would have been the Pop Cycled guys. And, they had plenty of cool stuff, all based on recycled items. But I would say what drew me to them was coasters. God knows I have enough coasters. I don't host people most of the time. I think I may have done it once since moving into my current apartment. And I've been living there since 2020. But I saw he had this really cool Timac Bruce Leroy with the glow coaster.
I see.
And oh, man, that is awesome. And he says, oh, yeah. If you would have gotten here earlier, you could have got yourself a Show Enough one, but I sold out. Oh. So, did I buy the Timac one? No, because if there's a Show Enough one, I'm going to have to look this stuff up on my own. You got to buy them a set. So I ended up buying some nicer coasters, I should say, of what I have. Let's see, it was pretty much anime themed for the most part. It was the Nerve logo, Sailor Uranus. Could have used the Sailor Starlights. Labyrinth and Sailor Moon. That's what determines your sexuality. It's the Cat Bus coaster, of course, and San from Princess Mononoke. I should say, from Princess Mononoke. Technically, she is Princess Mononoke, so. As for your vendor's experience, you went and got yourself some... was it a hot chocolate vendor or a coffee vendor? I was
a hot chocolate
curious.
vendor.
Okay. Because you see tea vendors, you were upset that tea and absinthe didn't have the 12th Doctor blend anymore.
Right.
And there's a lot of coffee guys. You said Gwyndo's hot sauce was around, but that's definitely not up David's alley. If you ever run into Gwyndo's, though, they've got some great sauces. Zombie Killer, or I think it was Zombie Killer, and the Viking themed one were really good. Otherwise, if you're down south, look for Bob's hot sauces. Those are pretty good too. Despite Gwyndo's, I think they probably took the train down to New Orleans because that's the last time I bought from them. You got your Willy Wonka tea. No, sorry, hot chocolate. What was the other? Buttercup?
Yeah, Princess Buttercup.
Okay. So it's butterscotch, or...
No, it's like peanut butter cups.
Okay, sorry. I'm a turtle sundae guy. I need that. No, otherwise I did buy... Only got left with one Funko Pop. That was a and that might be based on my trauma, an El Diablo. And I didn't buy the more expensive one, so I bought the $20 one. Yeah, otherwise I can't really... Kind of proud of not going too crazy on the floor. How did you handle the floor, at least souvenir-wise?
Well, I didn't spend as much money on the floor as I did on food over the weekend, but I did get a lot of fun things, like those Japanese boxed mystery pens.
Okay.
What else did I get?
Now, I will say that...
Got some books.
Yeah, I did buy... Shoot, that is one I should have... Maybe I still got the... No, I think that was in my own bag. Somebody did sell me on a book. The Writer's Alley was pretty cool.
Yeah.
By the Anderson Bookshop. It's Anderson's, right?
Right.
Okay. So there was an author who I bought, like, she had... Just was holding a notebook saying, ask me about my book with a cat. And so obviously I said... Okay, you got the right 3-letter word to entice me. I know it's a novel about a woman who saved the world as a teenager, and now she's in her 30s, and her cat guide comes back and says, we got to do it again. And man, we're just old by that point. So it's kind of like it's fun to think about, is an allegory of those who think they may have peaked so early in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I may have teased the author next to her. She was a Filipino, and she wrote a novel about one of those demons from Filipino, and I think I immediately said, oh, no, it's the Ashwa. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. And I'm probably familiar with what she says because I watch enough YouTube videos about weird cinema. I think it was the Filipino... Well, the Philippines was a great place for Roger Corman. And I think it really inspired the local filmmakers as well. But I told her, oh, no, there's a wrestler who dressed up as that demon for a Wrestle Kingdom years ago. Oh, so she thought I would... So, I at least made it look like... I don't know. I am so, at least with my dating life, when I deal with a woman who's, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. And it's like, no, I'm kind of the expert. Why am I listening to your interpretation? I don't want to be, so I apologize if I ended up pulling that shit on her. Because, no, I could have probably quickly Googled, what did T.J. Perkins dress up as? But at least she now knows about the the Filipino-American influence on professional wrestling. So maybe I wasn't a total twat there. As for cosplay, I saw a fun Crowley and a Aziraphale from Good Omens. Mm-hmm. Crowley carrying around an emotional support plant. Despite if you've seen Good Omens, those plants are the ones that really need the emotional support. Let's see. So, I know I saw multiple Eevees together, and again, they're not supposed to actually evolve. That's somebody in a Vulpix. And there was one that I found to be really fun, especially since I live in the town of the Champaign-Urbana, the U of I, the father of HAL 9000. Let me see. Delete. Okay. And those coasters again came from Pop Cycled Baubles. I got a good Evangelion on the way out of Rei and Asuka. Yeah, there's my Crowley. Yeah, okay. Get past the mirror. Oh, this was my favorite cosplay if you've seen the menu. A woman who had a a brown hat on top, which is supposed to represent the chocolate, and she then had the sash made of marshmallows. So if you know the ending to the menu, which I think kind of took a while for the people to really, like, I did, that was an ending I did not want to spoil for anybody. So it wasn't until about B-Fest where I saw people, like, hear about that back in 2023, I believe.
Right.
And there was some cool, and I got a picture of some cool Mononoke theme cosplay. I see a lot of Howls now. Howls and Sophie's.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those over the years.
When it comes to K-pop Demon Hunter stuff, I think people stuck with the other prime. There were some roomies, but otherwise they stuck to the other two from Huntrix.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you don't have to figure out how to get your hair purple for that, for those two. But yeah, so, yeah, that's C2E2, I think, pretty well summed up. I think it was a good con. But I think it again plays to how I did Crazy Flicks should have had a presence, because I was just feeling anxious not having places to be at the convention. So, and there were just a lot of empty time slots, I think. Big breaks in certain rooms, which I suppose may have been intended just so they can go and get them cleaned up. But how crazy can a room get before the after hours? And with the after hours, did you actually get a chance to do karaoke yourself, or?
No, I didn't get to go up on stage either night.
Okay. Yeah, I thought about doing the second one, but were they both called cosplay karaoke?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I didn't cosplay, so. And Nerdlesque filled up pretty fast. So it's great to know those girls from Cleveland are doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to get home at some point to this evening, and I plan on watching Super Mario Brothers, the good one, as Doug Walker said. Despite it looks like so many of us have more fun going back to Dennis Hopper saying monkey. So I'm sure you've seen Super Mario Brothers, correct?
Yes.
So just gonna pull up some information on that one. Honestly, it feels like a quick turnaround, but was that a 2021?
2023.
2023. So yeah, that is a quick turnaround. Why did these little girls have to wait till 2029 for Huntrix to get back together?
Well, it's 3 years. 3s and 3s.
4.
Because they have to finally finish those Spider-Man movies first over at Sony.
Let's see. So do you think Sony, or is Netflix the one really pushing for the sequel?
I would certainly say it was Netflix.
Okay.
I mean, it's ultimately their show now.
Yeah, but I mean, unless they're going to put the money behind it, it's...
I'm sure they will.
2020. Film's 2023. Alrighty. And so, alright, so Super Mario Brothers came out in the wrong year, correct? Because you're not gonna compete with Hayao Miyazaki's return to directing. At least in terms of Oscars.
I enjoyed the movie, but I don't think it would have deserved an Oscar.
Oh. I hear more people enjoying Zootopia 2 than K-pop Demon Hunters. Hint, hint. So, any real standout things from the Super Mario Brothers 2023 that I should be looking out for?
I can't think of any offhand.
Is it really Jack Black's showcase?
He gets a lot to do, certainly.
Because you never know, though. I know Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Usually when Seth Rogen gets to do a voice, it ends up being a lot of fun. A la Monsters vs. Aliens. Yeah, I don't have a brain. Turns out, you don't need one. Which explains 40% of the population, I suppose. Alright, well... Are you looking to check out Super Mario Galaxy in the theaters?
Yes, I hope to within the next week or so.
Okay, well that is
It's going to be busy, but...
Well, yeah, especially since it's Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Which now explains why I figured they were just trying to be clever doing an April Fool's release.
No,
but
it's
no,
Easter week, so
yeah.
they were going to open it on a Wednesday and get the jump.
Yeah. You know, I'm not a man of God any longer, so... But that was a fun little... Now I think of a fun little game from the panel with the Femmes Reading Filth. They put it up as which one is great because is sexy because of their environment, which one because of their personality, and which one because of yearning. And they put down the priest from Fleabag, Steve from Stranger Things, and the new Superman. So yeah, I don't think a lot of people think of Superman as a good personality. Do you think the new one compared to Reeves?
I enjoyed the film.
Well, yeah, but who do you think had the better personality? The 78 or the 2025?
I don't feel comfortable judging.
Okay. I think Lois is a bitch in the new one. I'm punk rock. Damn right, kindness is punk. That is something I kind of do regret, is not buying anything from the Geeky Punk stand, but I'm sure they will be at Fan Expo Chicago probably. That's where they were. They didn't do Fan Expo New Orleans though, so maybe not. It's interesting because they're out of St. Louis and they weren't at GalaxyCon St. Louis, but that was such a thrown together one. I mean, Aaron Reynolds, they did like, hey, we'd like to get you to, give you a spot, and that just is inspiration. I want to be what Aaron Reynolds does, gets paid to fly in and stay. Because they're just joking with him, like, Aaron Reynolds, effing birds, bootleg safari. You get paid? Which is something they taught us at the Chicago Podcasters Unite meetup, was you're not going to make money doing a podcast. Like, but a lot of people, like, basically, you turn it into a t-shirt store. And as I like to say with I Dig Crazy Flicks, when I give somebody the button, I've got the branding nailed. The content, you're going to have to judge for yourself. So, yeah, I'm going to have to look into getting a table at some time with the iCanon logo Crazy Flicks t-shirts. Do you have my NWO parody idea?
Right.
SLP for life. Do you miss the days of making up your own VHS tapes?
I don't know.
Okay, well. Alrighty, so you can find the Poetic Critic on Letterboxd, the Poetic Critic, all one word. You can follow me on Letterboxd as well. That's Catbus Russ. And if you want to help the podcast out, first off, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, 5 stars preferably. I will learn from the comments and make a better show from that. And if you want to learn how I've improved and as a podcaster and get ad-free podcasts, join my Patreon. That's patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. Besides for the old library from Podbean of 90forchill.com, the podcast, and your ad-free content, you'll get yourself either a waterproof sticker or a fridge magnet. I use both of those to try and promote my podcast at my day job as much as I can. And you also get a shout out for each episode as long as you're a subscriber. So thank you, Dad. Thank you, Tim Bates. You can find him on episodes in this podcast feed. And I mean, as in the I Did Crazy Flicks free feed about Night of the Demons, a classic 1980s horror comedy. And what I like to call Bloodsport in Space, Arena, a Charles Band movie from 1989. And you can now hear him get praised on Screen Draft's Patreon, the Scoop Staley. So he's more than just a professional wrestler. I've been trying to tell people about that forever for the Scoop. But the best way you can help the podcast out is come on, be a guest. Offer me a film, a director, an actor, a theme. As long as we focus on bonkers cinema, I will happily talk to you. But if you have something a little more down-to-earth, in touch with reality, indie fare, dare I say, as long as it's between 70 and 100 minutes, I think we have a slice of fried podcast gold. I hear Rory chuckle on that one, and I know she's looking at her phone, but it kind of made me think, we haven't done any of the Cornetto trilogy on the podcast. Just a suggestion. You can catch me at Missouri Comic-Con in a couple of weeks on the 11th and 12th of April. I will be doing all three of my panels, the 90forchill.com, the podcast, 90forchill, the panel, 1985 action movie triple threat match, Stallone versus Schwarzenegger versus the Cannon Group, and 1986 rad movies or bad movies, which is one I hope we can someday do together, Rory, just to see how you feel.
Yeah.
So that's all that's really going on. Let me get to the final formality, and I'd like to thank Sage Marie Harden for keeping an eye on me, keeping me out of too much trouble, and I hope she's doing the same for everybody else she touched in her life. She's an inspiration to me. And I hope she's squeezing the ectoplasm out of Skimbleshanks, the one-eared angel, the most jellicle of kitties. Just give him enough breath, because he's quite the conversationalist. So thank you to the Poetic Critic for coming back on I Did Crazy Flicks, and thank you very much for listening.
Superman! Where am I?
Ooh, fresh meat for the grinder.
Pay him no heed. He is cute, but he is.
There's gotta be a way out of here.
There's no escape. The only hope is the sweet relief of death.
Whoa! Oh, you've got to be kidding me! My army! Koopas! Goombas! Whatever those things are! Aww. We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
Bowser is coming.
I'm not afraid. I'll do anything for my brother.
We're going to save him.
Yes! Fire!
You asked for it. This is fun!
Here we go!
Attack!
Let's end this.
Well, I promised you a review for the Super Mario Brothers movie, the animated feature from 2023, and we will get to that. But I also mentioned some of the authors I ran into at the, I guess it's Writer's Alley by the Anderson's Bookstore. That would include, sorry if I get the names mixed up, Z. Laxon. She's the author of Wool Gatherer and I believe Twice Removed, about Filipino demons, and the story about the woman who has to save the world once again after doing it as a kid because her cat guardian tells her, is Stephanie G. Olson, and that book is called Still Chosen. So there we go. Make sure I get everybody the credit they deserve from C2E2. And now on to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
You do not have to be like me, because I know that everybody's social media feed is bombarded with ads for the new guilt-free snack. But you're scrolling on social media, so you're curious about a lot of things. And fortunately for me, I have a pretty high batting average when it comes to trying stuff from online sources. One of those hits was Deutsch Snacking Dough. It's cookie dough you can eat raw, you can bake into cookies in under 10 minutes, and it just fills you up in a few scoops. I like to eat a pound, maybe 2 pounds of chicken wing in a sitting, and still there's the urge to go for that third pound. But with Deutsch Snacking Dough, you take a couple scoops, and it just settles me down, and I feel full. Free of the top 8 allergens, they're gluten-free, low sugar, and have 3 times the protein of any other dough out there. And it's plant-based. And as I say, I can eat 3 pounds of wings in a sitting if I feel like it. I am a carnivore. Needless to say, I was skeptical about plant-based snacking dough, but my skepticism was proven wrong. So if you go down to the link in the description of this podcast, it will take you to my portal and you will get 20% off of your order. So find your new snack today, Deutsch Snacking Dough, which honestly I think it takes a lot of the plot beats from the original. I know that's kind of a blasphemous thing to say. So from the 1993 feature, the Mario Brothers are from Brooklyn. I kind of think I would have probably just stuck them in the Mushroom Kingdom to begin with, and you get to see them go from loser plumbers, the stupid Mario Brothers, as their rivals calls them, to heroes of the Mushroom Kingdom after a warp pipe is discovered in the sewer. Again, why not just a dimensional jump and give us Daisy instead of Peach? Okay. So it's basically, what if the Super Mario Bros. 93 feature was done perfectly? I guess I should say it's a 4-star movie because of that. I just feel like this was a lot just fan service. Like we were watching a movie with Memba berries from South Park, you know, Memba Cheap Cheeps. Oh yeah, I remember. I kind of wish there was a little bit of world building, you know, instead of, and here's this reference you'll remember, here's this reference you'll remember, and here's this reference you'll remember. So it just doesn't feel like an adventure. There we go. It's like just a straight cartoon, and maybe that is better, but I kind of feel like we're so quick with, well, we have a reference here that we don't have to focus on anything else, that it kind of moves maybe even a little too fast. I mean, there are some fun characters, and honestly, the voice acting is excellent in this one. Actors really disappear into their roles, I suppose. You wouldn't think it was Charlie Day as Luigi, Chris Pratt as Mario. Jack Black does a great job trying to show that he's serious without going to, hey, Jack Black. But he's, you know, you can't hide it once you start singing. But hey, that's the Tenacious D, so we're not going to hate on that. So yeah, I just felt like the references that the older fans who wanted this movie back in 1993 provides the viewer satisfaction when I don't necessarily think it's earned. I don't think it's really does the story beats well, I suppose. That's, you know, my big hang up. Again, if this was done in 1993 this way, I wouldn't have that to compare. I wouldn't have the wild thing that was the live action movie to compare it to. So yeah, I think I'll put it down on one of my letterboxes. The my old school one is CM Darth with 4 stars, and I'll probably put Cat Bus Russ at 3.5 stars, and I'll go and throw it on to, you know, I'll eventually make a list of all of these 3.7 star movies, I suppose, on one of my letterboxes, just for kicks. There's points, though, where I felt like the depressed star from Super Mario Bros. Galaxy. Again, they do a lot to hint to lay down the rest of the franchise. And with that said, I mean, Super Mario Galaxy I don't think is as well known as the rest of the franchise. Like, hey, I wouldn't mind Luigi's Mansion spin-off, or we have... Yeah, there's, I guess, another thing. Like, oh, why didn't we do more with the Boos, you know, or the Bob-Ombs? We just blow up... Well, you know, I don't want to give spoilers away. Well, I guess the mushrooms are just like the capsules from Akira. Good for the kids, bad for education. So that's kind of my vibe. I'm not going to fault its technical abilities. It's, well, yeah, no, I don't know. I just think, there's a reference. We don't need to actually build and explain it. So there you go. It's solely for the fans, but I think it probably is amusing enough for anybody to watch it who likes the video games. Well, I'm really kind of conflicted with this one. Kids are not really going to get all these references because the games have evolved with us 40-somethings. I guess I'm still looking for that good perfect Illumination movie, and I just don't think Super Mario Brothers, the Super Mario Brothers movie is it. It's fun. It's more of just gawking at it than I think really engaging.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.